I've seen every single Twilight movie now. All 5. I've seen them all. And it was fun. It was really fun to marathon. They're a fun series of movies because they're like very ridiculous. A lot of the stuff doesn't make sense. The CGI is like really shitty. It's really fun. I created like some kind of debate, some kind of argument in my replies about Team Jacob versus Edward. And everyone's always like bringing up a bunch of shit. I started a whole ass like war. Neither of them are good, okay? Edward is like 100-year-old dude that for some reason just keeps going to high school and keeps like fucking hanging around high schoolers for some reason. He doesn't look like a high schooler. He doesn't need to keep hanging around high schools. He shouldn't be dating high schoolers. He's over 100 years old. Just because he doesn't look old as fuck does not mean that he's not like a predatory groomer, okay? He 100%, he grooms and he's a predator. He needs to be one though because he's 17. He's not though. He's like 108. Okay, legally he's 17, but people drop out of high school. Casey Neistat had a child and dropped out of high school. He did not keep going back to high school for like 100 years. He shouldn't be around high schools. You know what I mean? Realistically, there is a power dynamic. There's an experience dynamic where Edward has been going to high school for 10 generations and he, well, not 10 generations. He's not that old, but you know what I mean? Like he keeps going over and over again and he's probably figured out every technique on how to manipulate high school girls. It's generally speaking, he should probably stay away from high school. And if he's going to go, he should probably not fucking date the high schoolers that literally like their fucking great grandparents were not born yet when Edward was like 15. That's point number 1. But if there was a gun put to my head, a man comes into my room, he breaks into my bedroom in the middle of the night and he says, you got to be either Team Jacob or Team Edward. I'm going to pick Team Edward every single time because Jacob is like 100 times worse. Okay. Jacob, first of all, that man cannot take no for an answer. There are points with Bella where I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on with you because if you're Team Edward, you cannot keep playing about like this. Although she does many times make it clear, no, Jacob, I don't want you. I'm not interested in you. I'm going with Edward. I'm going to turn into a vampire, right? But then there's that weird scene where like Jacob kind of like forces himself onto Bella and kisses her. And it's just like really weird. It's just like really fucking gross and weird. So that's at that point, I'm like, Jacob needs to go to jail, right? This guy could not get any worse. He needs to go to jail immediately. And then somehow after that, Bella is like, Jacob, I love you, kiss me, Jacob. While she's already dating Edward. They're getting married. They're like, she's already getting turned into a vampire. I don't know what the fuck happened there. That was weird, right? But then straight out of high school, I mean, goddamn, man, Edward groomed her real good because straight out of fucking high school, she gets married to this fucking 100-year-old motherfucker. Which is insane. They get married. And the dad, by the way, the entire time, Bella's father, who is a cop, but we look past that, okay? Nobody's perfect. The dad the whole time is like, that guy is so fucking creepy. I didn't even realize, I was like fucking 3 movies in when I realized, wait a minute, this guy has no fucking idea that Edward's a vampire. He just thinks that he's creepy in general, and he's right. He's right, this guy is creepy. Like, he's this fucking pale-ass dude with these, like, weird-ass eyes that just, like, kind of hangs out in the back of, like, high schools like this. Like, a 100-year-old dude that's just sitting there like this. Like, what the fuck is going on, right? And the whole time the dad is like, I don't want you spending so much time with this guy. I want you to go spend time with someone like Jacob. Which, from his point of view, Jacob is the better dude because he doesn't give off the vibes of, like, an old-ass guy. Which, by the way... What is that fucking deal with the Confederate soldier vampire? And like how we're just supposed to act like that's fine that this guy was a Confederate soldier and we're supposed to just be like okay with this? And then there's all these other like little racists that crawl out of nowhere where they're like, yes, I was a racist 200 years ago. And everyone's like, oh, that's mega chill, dude. Like, what the fuck is going on? Anyways, Bella graduates. Fucking Anna Kendrick is also in this movie, by the way. Which, by the way, like awesome. Love her. But they graduate, they get fucking married because Bella wants to lose her virginity to Edward, but Edward is like, I'm not going to have sex with you unless we're married. And also like he won't turn her into a vampire unless they're married. Also, is it explained at any point why she wants to become a vampire so bad? That girl is insane. Literally, the first time she goes over to the vampire house, they all start like fucking growling and like walking on all fours being like, I need to fucking suck the blood out of you. And she's like, I need this in my life. Like, these are my people. Like, literally the Confederate racist, they literally like fucking throw him into the shelves because he runs at her like a dog being like, I don't know why she wants this life for herself. I don't know why. They get married. The dad is obviously like, what the fuck? You just graduate. Well, this isn't even brought up that much, honestly. You could tell that he's thinking about it, but it's not even brought up the fact that she literally graduated from high school and then a month later, or maybe not even a month, she just gets married. But anyways, the wedding's beautiful. I must admit, the wedding is beautiful. I wish I could have, been there for it. But then, and this is a real thing that happens, by the way, Jacob was not invited to the wedding because there's beef between werewolves and vampires, but Jacob shows up at the after party, and then Bella's like, yeah, we got married because we're gonna have sex. We're gonna have sex before he turns me into a vampire. And then Jacob is like, you can't do that. You can't do that. And like all of his little werewolf buddies show up and they have to be like, no, you should let her have sex. She's a grown woman. She can have sex if she wants. And he's like, no, it's gotta be with me. Which is a scene that happened for some reason. Turns out Edward has this like private island in Brazil. These vampires are loaded. They have a whole ass fucking island in Brazil, and that's where they go for their honeymoon. And like the dad is like sending them off being like, oh, what the fuck ever, blah, blah, blah. They go to Brazil. They go to this fucking island in Brazil, and they have sex. They have sex and they break the bed. It's like insane. The fucking like literally like Edward does like one hump and the fucking bed falls apart. It's crazy. Turns out not only did he break the bed, I feel even gross saying this. He you know what I mean? He obviously something happened during it because she became pregnant. There was no protection. There was no pulling out. They were nothing. Nobody even knew that people and vampires could have children together. Edward, apparently the most fertile man on earth. Probably the first time he's busted in like fucking 60 years. And he immediately impregnates Bella. And everyone's like, oh my God, she's pregnant. She's pregnant. Her pregnancy is like a Sims pregnancy where like in 5 days, she looks like she's fucking 9 months pregnant. And the whole time the dad is like, where is she? Where's my fucking daughter? Where's the daughter? Where is the daughter? Hello? Where's my daughter? And they keep lying to him. They keep like making up these excuses where it's like, yeah, she's in Brazil and she's feeling a little bit ill. And now she's got to go to Switzerland and get like a procedure done and go to like a spa and shit. And the dad has no idea. And then Jacob goes to dad and says, hey, I'm a werewolf. That's when I clocked that, wait a minute, this dude had no idea this entire time. Nobody had even told him about the fact that there are werewolves and vampires running around here. But anyways, the child is born. Guess what they name it? If the kid was a boy, they would have named it Edward Jacob. Or maybe Jacob Edward. One of those. They would have named it Edward Jacob. You know what I forgot about? There's this scene where like there's a battle going on, so they hide Bella in the snowy hills. And there's this scene where like, for some reason, they thought, oh, in the snowy hills, it's not gonna be cold at all. Bella will be fine. They've clearly never watched fucking Steve Wallace, the fucking stealth camper, because if you watched them, you would know that when it's cold outside, you gotta bring all sorts of equipment. You gotta get a heater for your tent. They didn't think about any of this. So all that there is Bella, Edward, and Jacob. And Bella's like, and Edward doesn't care because he's a vampire. He's cold. He doesn't feel temperatures. The only way for them to warm Bella up is for Jacob to spoon her. And the whole time, Edward is just sitting in front of them being like, this dude is like literally the most like fucking cucked man I've ever seen in my life. Because he's just sitting there and he's like, oh my God. And the whole time he's like, you know what, Jacob? If you weren't a werewolf, I think we'd actually be friends. Which I'm like, bro, you are fucked. Like, you are dying inside. Like, I feel so sorry for you because you are cucked to the point where this man is literally spooning your girl in front of you. And you are literally like, oh, we'd be friends. We'd be friends, man. Let me get back to the baby, okay? The baby, they didn't name it Edward Jacob because it's a girl. They named it Renesmee. Which, like, what the fuck is that shit? Fucking stupidest name I've ever heard in my life. There's like this whole bit about like, everyone's like, is Bella gonna die because she's carrying a vampire child? And then she goes into labor. There's like this intense labor scene. It gets like pretty crazy. The baby was like sucking the life out of her. And then she gets turned into a vampire. Oh my God, dude. Jacob is there for the labor, by the way. Jacob is there like delivering the baby, fucking looking up her coochie and shit, like trying to like find it or some shit. Like I don't know what the fuck is happening. I don't know why Jacob is there for all of this. Vampires and werewolves are supposed to be big enemies, and they're all just hanging out in the same fucking Seattle mansion. This like really weird scene happens because basically there's all these like incel werewolves, which they're kind of real. They're like, there's this commune of werewolves where they're like, I've never imprinted on anyone. I'm so sad. I've never imprinted on anyone. I'll never find love in life. All I want to do is imprint on someone. It's real. It's like, oh, I want to imprint on someone. Guess what Jacob does? He sees the baby and he starts imprinting on the baby. He starts imprinting on the fucking newborn baby. And you people, there's people on the internet that are Team Jacob. This man is imprinting on a baby. And then like, there's this like whole thing of like him like defending the baby with his life because he's like imprinting on her. And then like Bella finds out, it's like, you imprinted on my baby? Because that's obviously like really fucking weird. And he's like, yeah, of course I imprinted on Rennie. And she's like, you're calling my baby Rennie? Or like Nessie, that's what it was, Nessie. And she was like, you named my fucking baby after the Loch Ness Monster? And they get into this like huge fight. Bella's like this whole Chad, which by the way, in the last movie, Edward has turned into like a total housewife. In the first few movies, Edward is like so fucking like, so strong, so like alpha, so all over everything. As soon as Bella turns into a vampire, he's the wife. We immediately know who's wearing the pants in the relationship. It's Bella. Because literally the entire movie, it's just Bella being like, no, babe, I got this. But yeah, they have this like whole fight over the baby. Which by the way, they took this like weird direction of, I guess like they cast the actor for the child and they used like CGI to de-age her. And this fucking baby for the first like hour and a half just looks like shit. Like she just has this like fucked up face. Every time I see her, I'm just like, that is the most like fucked up looking baby I've ever seen in my fucking life. Which by the way, at some point, for some reason, Bella is like, you know what, actually you imprinting on my baby is pretty chill. Like you can come hang out at the house. We can go on like little car road trips together where me and Edward sit in the front seat and you can sit in the back seat with my child that you're imprinting on. Wait, let me pull this up. This is so low quality. You literally won't be even able to see her face. Look at that. This is a sim. Dude, okay, by the way, Confederate soldier, Alice, I really liked Alice, but they're all smooching and hooking up. She is chill as fuck, hooking up with a Confederate soldier. So, just saying, kind of weird. It's not even like a secret fact. These people don't hide it. Oh, I used to be a Confederate soldier. They bring it up regularly. It's like me talking about, oh, I used to smoke cigarettes as a kid. That's him with like being a Confederate soldier. And everyone's just kind of like, oh, thank you for your service. Oh yeah, and then by the way, to the dad, they don't even tell him like, oh yeah, by the way, my fucking freak weirdo husband, my 100-year-old husband who hangs around high schools, he did not definitely get me pregnant on our honeymoon the first time we had sex. No, we adopted this child for some reason. And the dad is like, oh, okay. Adopted child, interesting. Also, look. Oh yeah, let's just let him fucking carry the child. That's, look, yeah, look, this is completely fine. Even though this guy was literally imprinting on this child. This man should be in prison. Okay, and so should Edward. I'm not saying that Edward shouldn't be in prison, but I'm saying if a man came into my room with a sword and put it to my throat and said, you gotta pick one, bitch, obviously I'm going with Team Edward. Oh yeah, and then like, he's just like kind of like fine with it eventually. Like, oh yeah, I saw you like fucking 2 weeks ago and you were like literally 1 year old and now you're like 5 years old. Sorry to spoil everything. I don't know. Did the author mean for the imprinting thing to be like romantic? I don't want. See, the thing is, they didn't. You know, it's like in the movie they try to play it off. Like, I don't know what the author meant, but in the movies they kind of try to play it off as like a, oh, it's not, it's like a platonic imprint. Like it's the imprint is like, it's like totally chill. Okay, let's pull up the definition for imprinting. Imprinting is the involuntary mechanism by which Quaalude shapeshifters find their soulmates. Soulmates! Your soulmate is a child! Reopen Alcatraz room. True. Put him on an island somewhere far away. Look up Twilight on YouTube. Twilight if Jacob and Edward were in love. Gorgeous. I do, like, if my daughter brought home this guy, I'm sorry, I'm not trusting that motherfucker. I would be like, I'm gonna have to have a sit down and talk.
About someone you can't have.
Not this song, dude.
I know what I saw.
Well, nobody's gonna believe you.
It's not a lifestyle choice, Bella. I was born this way. I can't.
That is so stupid. What broke back Twilight? Dude, why is there so many of these?
I might actually like you.
And you need to know that I'm in love with you.
You have to consider
that I might be better for you.
I have considered that.
Dude, this is so fucking good. What the fuck?
I'm in love with him.
Edward, you have to trust me.
I don't trust you. It's him I trust.